He's known around the world as a passionate conservationist and is even affectionately called the Lion Man. But is Craig Busch the animal lover he claims to be? This story may upset sensitive viewers.
In 2010, international wildlife celebrity Craig Busch left New Zealand and soon after bought himself a farm in Africa. It's home to his cheetahs, his giraffe Zenda, his tigers and his lions. He named it the Jabula Big Cat Sanctuary after this magnificent male.
Hi, my name is Craig Busch, the Lion Man.
Craig isn't new to big cat sanctuaries. In New Zealand, he owned a park with his mother, but they fell out over filming rights, and in an ugly legal battle, Craig lost everything.
Craig had lost the park, lost his cats, and in some quarters had lost his reputation as the Lion Man. So he headed to South Africa to make a fresh start.
Out of concern for wildlife and the almighty greed of mankind, there's a calling within me to come to Africa and be a part of Africa.
Craig's series on Discovery's Animal Planet projects him as a conservationist and animal lover. But nothing could be further from the truth, says Fred Bouranger of the Leopard Conservation Project.
So you're saying he's not a true conservationist?
You can't even use that word in the same sentence as Craig Busch. Seriously.
Fred has spent his adult life saving leopards in distress. Shortly after Craig arrived here, they began filming a series in the Waterberg. At the time, Craig was accompanied by Jabula, then an 8-month-old cub.
I never saw affection for Jabula while we were filming. He would always be bullying him to try and get the shot.
So you think it was all about getting the picture, the shot?
Absolutely, that's all it was about. It was about him and his fame. That's all it was ever about.
Okay, watch Zenda. That's how you do it. Yeah, I know. Go on.
This is Zenda the giraffe. She was born on the farm, but when only a few hours old, Craig, accompanied by the neighbor's son, went to remove her from her mother. Francesco Garcia, a qualified welder working on the farm, witnessed what happened and took these photos.
And Craig was all excited, arranged for a trailer, went and fetched the creature, brought it there to his house, and then he still said to me, if anybody asks about the giraffe, just tell them that the mother pushed it away.
And he told you to lie about it?
He told us. And then immediately after that, he was on the phone telling the whole world that he's just got himself a giraffe, and poor thing couldn't even stand on his feet yet.
But the story Craig tells in his series is how he saved an abandoned giraffe.
Normally you've got to dart these guys, but I managed to catch you. We're going to save you. The jackals are not going to get you.
But this testimony from an eyewitness at the time suggests that Craig nearly killed the giraffe just to get his shots.
I thought Zenda and the lead was awful. They wanted to create catching the baby giraffe on film, so they dragged her down into the bush with the lead. I was there as well. We spent about half a day doing this. Zenda was always trying to run off. At one point, she was getting so badly choked she dropped down to the ground. She wasn't fit to raise her head. She was still breathing, but I thought she was a goner. I'm sure so did everyone else. She had to rest for about an hour.
This little girl has just worn me out.
I just left it like it. I just knew this is not right. It's not right taking an animal away from his mother.
And Fred began to see the real Craig Busch when, during their filming, he kept pestering Fred to capture a baby leopard.
He'd been asking me to capture a baby leopard so that he can rear it the way he was doing Jabula. And I said to him, I don't do that. You can't take a baby away from his mother.
Their agreement collapsed when funds raised for this leopard were allegedly diverted by Craig for his own ends. The leopard had been trapped for 9 days in this cage, had aborted its cubs and lost its teeth trying to chew its way out. In the UK, funds were raised for a collar.
The woman in UK said to us, no, Craig got hold of the donor and he rerouted the funds to him. But how can he do that? We have to release this animal. So it cost me selling furniture to get that 10,000 Rand for the collar.
Then came the final straw for Fred.
The one incident was we went to film, and that was the last straw when Craig had this beautiful lion at the end of a chain, beating him with a stick to watch television. Jabula was on his back, snarling and grunting, and Craig just wouldn't stop, and he kept jerking him and hitting him so that he could watch television. I'm saying, what are you doing? This is not what I want to be involved with.
In October last year, one of Craig's lionesses, Shia, gave birth. But shortly afterwards, Craig removed the cubs, which he defends as standard practice.
We just pulled these boys off just yesterday. 4 lovely boys. Now pull them off the mother. Cubs do better if you hand raise them in captivity.
We sent in researchers undercover to see his sanctuary for ourselves. By now, the cubs had grown into boisterous youngsters. It appears he has an odd way of disciplining his animals, but when guests arrive, it all looks above board.
He's so big. He's like ridiculous.
Craig says that he loves his lions and gives the impression that he's the lion whisperer. But some of the people who worked with him tell a very different story.
Theo Potgieter and his wife Marlene worked for Craig.
Well, we thought he was an amazing human being, looking after animals and always putting them first, never himself. Once we started working there, we immediately saw totally a different thing, coming out his house at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, only waking up.
Marlene raised this cub, Tembi. She watched Craig force the terrified cub to interact with his cheetahs and learned to walk on a lead.
He would drag her so often on the leash, which just got to me. And then the one day, she unfortunately got hold of a chicken, and she killed this chicken. And he got very, very angry, and he started kicking her. And I was crying my eyes out, and I said to Theo, you know what, this is a man that's supposed to love animals.
Eventually, Marlene and Theo left disillusioned.
How are you left feeling about Craig?
I'm really sad. I cannot watch any reality shows on TV anymore because it's all a scam. And I hate what he's doing to those lions.
Tembi's now a grown lioness, a source of income for Craig. 1,500 Rand will buy you a walk or a drag around the property.
Up there, up there. Up you come. Up you come.
Stephen Kelly volunteered to help on the farm last year after his dad died. He too witnessed Craig dragging Tembi around the farm.
You sold me this whole concept that we're actually enriching this captive lion's life by taking it through, letting it see impala and kudu running past. But obviously when the lion lies down and you have to get to the form of dragging it, that's, you're not really loving the lion, I think. You're loving the money that people are paying you to walk the lion.
Craig has taken out an interim harassment order against Stephen after Stephen sent a barrage of unpleasant messages to him.
Every time I was with him, we drank most of the time. He would go in with the cats after drinking and prove that he's the lion man. But everything he tried to teach me, he was directly contradicting himself.
The allegations against Craig Busch are not flattering. His detractors call him the liar man, and he has a criminal record in New Zealand for drunk driving and assault. Craig doesn't deny that he's been involved in a criminal matter in New Zealand and has paid a fine, but he wouldn't come on camera.
We've got other allegations that you've treated your lions badly, that you've beaten up women.
I don't do that. I love my cats, okay? I don't do that at all. And I'm sick of smear campaigns.
But even the farm that Craig now calls his own actually still belongs to Tinus Rotenbach.
Derek, I hesitate to say, but I would never, ever trust him for whatever he says ever again. That's enough said.
Tinus hoped to fund his retirement when he sold his farm in Magaliesburg to Craig for 4.5 million Rand. But he alleges Craig hasn't paid for it.
We agreed on a price, and then he said, okay, he'll give me R1 million deposit, and then he will, within the next 4 to 5 months, he would pay the balance.
5 years later, Tinus says Craig has never paid the balance. Craig says they have instituted a substantial counterclaim against Tinus, but Tinus still has the title deeds and cancelled the contract with Craig in November 2014.
You can't get onto your own farm.
No. I've got to get permission, and then it's got to go through the lawyer, and then it's got to this, then he's not available, and that's happening. It's a constant problem to stop him squatting on my farm.
In a legal letter to Carte Blanche, Craig says he would never abuse his animals, as that would jeopardize his own safety. He denies that he would place any of his animals under his care at risk, or that any funds received and earmarked for the animals had been misappropriated.